Welcome to this retrospective slash review for MUSHA, which stands for, I forget, metallic something armored, a mech. Oh, there it is, metallic uniframe super hybrid armor, a game that came out 1991 in North America for the Sega Genesis, though originally it came out in 1990 in Japan. So a little bit of a time difference, time lag there, but that's to be expected. So basically, I want to give you my quick thoughts on the game that I just got done playing it, and I can go ahead and start by saying that I enjoyed the game so much that I just kind of sat through it all in one day and tried to get through it. Of the batch of Genesis games that I've played recently, this is probably my favorite of them. Graphically, absolutely a beautiful game. I don't think you can take anything away from it in those regards. I think it's just really pretty. Definitely the prettiest of the three games that I've played here in the last week or so. So very gorgeous as far as graphics are concerned, which you'll see in this video that I have playing here in the background. And the music, oh my goodness, the music was just amazing in this game. I absolutely love the soundtrack. And when you're dealing with a shooter, you need a good soundtrack. And they definitely hit the nail on the head for certain with the soundtrack of this game. So definitely good all around from a graphics sound perspective. The other thing I would like to mention is the fact that all the power-ups were actually pretty decent in this game. About the only one that I think would be kind of weak would be the shield, which is kind of odd because normally when I play these types of games, I like a shield type power-up, but I felt like going on offensive, attacking with either the laser or the bomb was probably preferable to using the shield weapon. Now the shield would be decent if you had a lot of the satellites or whatever they call the little jets that fly next to you. But without that, it's kind of, it doesn't have the same punch, basically. So the laser's much better, and definitely the bomb. Both of them are very good. I liked both of those weapons quite a bit. The game can be quite hectic with the stuff that hits the screen, because it can, even from the very first level, it can fill the screen up with a whole bunch of stuff. So, in my opinion, the best way of playing it is to pretty much go on offense and take as many of the enemies down as quickly as you can before they even get a chance to get their shots off. That's really the best way of playing it. But honestly, I've only played one other Compile game, and so Compile is known, for a lot of things, but mostly they're shooters. So that's what they're really famous for. And this is probably the second shooter that they put out that I've actually played. The other one I played a while ago, I played on my Wii U. I bought Blazing Lasers for the TurboGrafx 16. So I did play that one. And I think that this one probably looks a lot better. I could be mistaken, but I'm pretty sure there's definitely a lot more detail in the backgrounds on this one. And but to be fair to Blazing Lasers, it has been a while since I actually played that game, so I could be, completely and totally misremembering things as well. So that's always a possibility. Now, what I do remember from Blazing Lasers is that this game, even though it's a little bit punishing if you have to use a continue, it's still, you can recover and play with, a continue and still do well in the game, I feel. When I was playing Blazing Lasers, when I got to, say, the last level, if I died and lost all of my power-ups, there was there was no recovery for that. from that basically. Now, to be fair, there were certain parts of the last stage where if you got, taken out too early and you didn't have the right amount of power-ups, you would have a very hard time with that aspect as well, but not nearly as bad as Blazing Lasers was, in my humble opinion, of course. So even though I was sitting there using continues in this game, I still did very well even using continues, and I could get through the stage if, with enough practice, basically. Like I said, with Blazing Lasers, I don't feel like that was something I could do. Having said that, this game is pretty challenging. It's not a walk in the park, despite how well I did with certain stages, basically. The last stage is quite easily very, very challenging. The other stages, I was able to, stage 6 is probably one of the ones I did the best on, but believe it or not. I didn't have to use any continues on stage 6, but stage 7, the final stage, man, I tried to get through that without using save states, but I took over an hour to play to that level. Just no beating around the bush, to say the least. And that's kind of what I should have expected, with my previous experience with Compile and Blazing Lasers. I should have expected it to be, over the top for the final level, and it definitely was. But perhaps a little bit too long. They drew out the final conflict went for a very long time, probably too long to be honest with you. It was just amazing. Like, okay, the two mini bosses. Well, the first one's kind of easy, really, but the second one that shot you with the homing missiles, that one was very difficult. And then you had to get to the final boss, and I got past the first form of it. Then there was a second form. Then there was a third form, and you're like, oh, okay, finally, I'm done with the game. Like, no, we got one more boss to touch you. I was like, come on. So yeah, the final stage, they did kind of go a little bit overboard for certain with how the boss just would not die. And so if there's any criticism I would say of the game, that they dragged out that last stage just a little bit too long. It was already tough enough without them just continually hammering you, over and over again. But, at the end of the day, I did eventually beat it with save state. Now, is this a game where I think I can beat it without save states? Possibly. The thing is, I kept getting very close to, I would always get just that much further. And this game, I guess, it teases you with that little carrot that, yeah, you can beat this, you can do this. It doesn't feel impossible. It's like, you know what, I can get it this time. And, well, I just never did. But I always had the feeling that I could turn things around and get through things. And so even though I was using continues in just about every stage in the game, I was able to, decently pick up where I left off and do well. So from that perspective, I think this game does a very admirable job of not being too over the top as far as difficulty is concerned. It's a challenging game, and I would say, unlike Strider, which I just played, it's challenging, but it doesn't feel unfair. I guess that's the best way of describing it, really. The patterns are pretty much the same, and you just got to get used to the pattern, really. Like I said, it can be hectic, but it doesn't feel just like cheap, I guess is the best way of describing it. So, of these three Genesis games that I've played recently, I'd say this one's probably my favorite. And theoretically, they all came out around the same time, 1990. So it just seems to me very odd how much better this game looks than the other two. I mean, it just looks so much better, and it's just gorgeous, and the sound is better. I mean, just everything about this from those perspectives is just so much better than Strider and M.U.S.H.A. Not to take anything away from either of those games. Well, maybe Strider, but this game is definitely very good. The funny thing is, I look at like the Wikipedia entry, and apparently it didn't review very well, which is kind of surprising to me, to be honest with you, because I feel like it was a very good game. So I'm not sure why it would have, reviewed poorly back in the day. I guess because there probably were already a lot of vertical shooters already on the Genesis. Maybe I think that's what they said was the main reasoning for why it didn't get very good review scores. So I mean, if that's the case, that's kind of silly, but okay. Other than that, yeah, I think this is a good game. If you're up for a challenge, it's definitely a good challenge. I should point out that I played this with RetroArch, and I used the Blastum core, and I feel like for the most part the game was actually very it had a good speed, and there wasn't a lot of slowdown in it either. So it kind of kept its pace the whole time and did very well from that perspective. So I can't remember there being any real slowdown despite the amount of stuff on the screen. Nothing that took away from the game. So I looked up legally how to get this game, and as far as North America and I guess even Europe is concerned, the only way to really get this game is via the Switch Online service. It did come out on a Genesis Mini, but it came out for one on the Japanese and or Asian, not European, Japanese and Asian version of the Switch Mini. So not really an option for a lot of people, basically. So really, yeah, Switch Online is the only true way of getting this game. Now, if you want to play it on the go, obviously that's the way you should play it. But, I feel like, doing it via emulators and retro achievements so that you can get the achievements definitely is the way to go. That's my preferred method. And the achievement set for this game is actually pretty decent. It's not over the top. It's fairly moderate as far as that's concerned. So it's a good achievement set, and it definitely gave me quite a bit to play for. So yeah, this game is definitely well-rounded, a good challenge, and something I think that a lot of people will enjoy. If you're into shooters, if you're not into shooters, well, you probably won't like this game at all then. But if you like shooters, this one definitely is a pretty awesome sounding game, and a challenging game. Definitely worth it. Worth your time. Anyway, that's my thoughts. Oh, I didn't give it a score, did I? So for a score, I would probably give this an 85. I don't want to, what's the words I'm looking for here? It's the best of the games I played. I don't think it was as frustrating as, say, Strider was. I mean, the last level was pretty frustrating, to be fair, but not quite the same level of frustration that Strider gave me. I always felt like I could do better, whereas Strider is like I just felt like I had to get lucky to get by it. So anyway, yeah, this game definitely I would give it an 85. It is very challenging, and at the end of the day, you can beat it all in one sitting. So it is a short game, potentially a short game. So you know, it's not like you can say it's a perfect game, but definitely worth your time and worth firing up if you just want a, you know, quick little shooter that you want to play through. I think this game is definitely worth it. Like I said, the shield weapon is probably the weakest one, and this game I think definitely is a good offense is the best defense policy as far as this game is concerned for certain. But yeah, that's my thoughts on the game. Anyway, hopefully I was able to look at the camera when I did this video. I was very much distracted by the visuals going on the screen, to be honest with you, because it's captivating. It really is. But anyway, that's my thoughts on the video, or or MUSHA, I should say. So thank you very much for watching this video, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Take care.